It seems like every week another big carnivore influencer posts a video titled "Why I'm Quitting." It's confusing. We see someone we thought was an expert fail, and that little voice in our head pops up and says, if they can't even do this, how am I supposed to do this? It's enough to make anyone second guess if this whole carnivore thing is even possible. I'm going to tell you the truth. That quitting narrative, it's a lie. It's a systemic trap, one that the food industry is profiting from every time we click. I'm going to expose exactly how the trap works, from the biological reason they get pulled back, to the clickbait lie, to the intentional manipulation that is designed to keep you sick, scared, and coming back for their processed food. I'm going to show you how not to fall for it. First of all, I'm Violet. If this is your first time here, I talk about keto, carnivore, and getting your health back by eating real healthy food. Please subscribe. So, obviously, me seeing channels talk about getting back to eating carbohydrates when they were a carnivore channel, it makes me think that there has to be a link to the food companies going on here. We all know that the food industry needs us to believe that low carbohydrate diets is hard. And again, like if you're new here, that's the narrative. Low carb is hard. Nobody can do it. It's gonna be a failure story. That's how every article and research paper is presenting the low carbohydrate diet. So if you're keto, low carb, carnivore, you're gonna fail. They've spent decades convincing us that sugar is healthy. And now most people just believe carnivore has to fail because sugar is healthy. Again, the whole fat makes you fat, don't eat that stuff, limit your animals. So like, don't eat beef. Oh my heaven, for if you have a steak, you're on a path to destruction. All of that points us towards carbohydrates good, fat bad. So your doctor for sure is going to tell you that carnivore is impossible. Media screams about it, impossible. Our families, because they listen to their doctors, are looking at us and saying, what are you doing? You are going to harm your health. Oh, if you're not aware, I'm a carnivore. I only eat meat, fish, poultry, sprinkle some salt on that, and eggs, sprinkle some salt on that. So I'm used to hearing everybody around me saying that I'm walking towards a heart attack. It's the narrative. It confirms their bias and therefore protects the processed food system that we all live in. Every store you walk into has more processed food than it has healthy whole foods. I don't even think that we click into that the outer extremities of the store where the real food are located don't even take up the entire extremity of the store. Have you ever noticed that? There's maybe one wall and a half that's real unprocessed food, and then the entire center of the grocery store and the rest of the back and the other side is processed garbage. I don't understand why we don't notice it, but I was in there and I noticed it. If you've noticed that, Wellness Warrior, you're not paranoid. You're seeing the trap that's been set for everyone. So, where do they get this failure ammunition that they use against us? How do they convince us that we're going to fail if we touch keto or carnivore? It comes from two very predictable traps that have been set for us years and years ago. First, we have the biological trap that says that when I get back to my healthy weight, I'm healed, right? That's not true, Honest Warrior. It's not being thin that means that you're completely healed and healthy. First of all, it actually takes 20 years to rebuild a human body, right? And your body is being rebuilt every single day. So let's look at this carefully. Whatever I eat today contributes to my body being able to rebuild this. If I eat only healthy things today, my body is being rebuilt on only healthy foods. So if I did keto or carnivore for, in my case, 5 months and completely got back to my healthy weight, did I rebuild my entire body? No, I started to. I'm 5 months in to rebuilding myself with healthy foods. The problem is, since it takes 20 years to replace everything, sure, I've rebuilt some things, like all my intestines are probably, or the lining of my intestines, not the entire thing, and like some very quick turnover cells, and yes, but a lot of core structures are still the same as they were 5 months ago-ish, because your body can't just throw away the old you and bring in a new you. It's like doing a renovation in a house. If you're doing the bathroom, you're doing the bathroom, but all the other rooms are still old. And then you'll switch to the downstairs bathroom, and then you'll do the other, and maybe the 3 bathrooms get done, and then maybe you tackle the bedroom, and then maybe the 5 bedrooms are done, and then you tackle the living room. But if all of that changeover tried to happen at the same time, you would have destroyed the house and then had to rebuild from scratch. Our body doesn't do that, clearly. But it's even more slowly than that, because while your body might be rebuilding some things that are really fast to turn over, it's also rebuilding the things that are the most important, like your brain and your heart. And so not all the energy is going to any one thing at one time. It's trying to do a lot of stuff. Yes, I got to goal weight in 5 months, but my complete body was not healed. So this idea that I'm healed and I can go back to eating carbohydrates now, so I can have chocolate bars and whatever, is false. And when they touch these things, they get into problems. Let's talk about some of the problems. So these influencers and the rest of us, myself included, and you watching this video, we are all human. What we don't realize is that years of eating high carbohydrate foods, so I'm not just talking about this stuff like, chocolate or pasta, but I'm also talking about pasta. I'm talking about candy, but I'm also talking about bread and a bunch of things that we think are so, rice, potatoes, the regular food that makes up our meals, and then the processed stupidity, the ice cream, the chocolate that makes up our snacks and foolishness. All of that stuff means that the pleasure center of our brain every single day gets lit up. What does that mean? Every time you light up the pleasure center of your brain with high carbohydrate stuff, sauces, all that high carbohydrate stuff causes your brain to be obsessed with carbohydrates. So when we're thinking, oh, my weight is regulated, I'm better now, we're not taking into consideration that we've allowed ourselves, they've tricked us into becoming obsessed with high carbohydrate things, because the food guide tells us that we need to have 5 to 8 servings of fruits and vegetables per day, that we need to prioritize having healthy grains, fruit, nuts and seeds. All of these things are high in carbohydrate, which means that all of these things are stimulating that pleasure center of our brain, which means that we have become obsessed with sugar. So when we get our body back to goal weight, and we think I'm better now, and I can handle a little sugar, or even I can handle going back to my normal diet. So I was doing keto and I can go back to my normal diet. None of that is true. And our body starts craving again, because our brain gets turned upside down. It's back on. And that little bit of sugar turned my obsession with sugar back on. This is exactly the same process that happens to that alcoholic in recovery. Right? I've been good for 5 years. I haven't had a drink. I should be fine now. And they have one beer and they're in a huge relapse. They're on a bender. They're not doing well. It is not a diet failure. It's a predictable dopamine trap that the food companies not only know about, they've created. That's why there's always this huge push towards 5 to 8 servings of fruits and vegetables, that we need those fruits. Don't forget to eat your fruits. Fruits are sweet. They're full of sugar. Chocolate is sweet. It's full of sugar. My brain doesn't tell the difference. So the second problem that gets these influencers is the false cure that they're looking for. Because like us, these influencers are trying to solve lingering skin issues, gut issues. Like they have other stuff. Maybe they have a bloated midsection. They have things that they want to fix. And because they're human, they fall for the myth that they need fiber or vegetation of some sort to heal themselves. And so they're going to reintroduce whatever vegetable, what other fruit, because that's going to help my gut heal. That's going to help my skin be better. And now they're coming online and saying, I quit carnivore because I've reintroduced this piece of fruit or this to heal myself. I need us to understand, and first of all, I know this because I've had dogs, but Professor Bart Kay has actually said this in his videos, and I watched this and I thought, thank you for saying it out loud, that many carnivores in the wild will eat small amounts of vegetation, whether it's grass, which is what I saw my dog eat, or other animals will eat other things to force themselves to regurgitate or to pass through whatever is making them feel ill, right? And they're not eating it as a source of food. They're eating it to mitigate not feeling well. Those animals are still carnivore. Influencers are being tricked into thinking that if I have one piece of fruit, I'm no longer carnivore. That's not reality. You can have a piece of fruit once in a blue moon and be carnivore. You can have a piece of fruit to try to heal something and be carnivore. Can we take a moment and acknowledge that many medications that we take, the ingredients in the medication is coming from vegetation? Eating a piece of fruit or a vegetable of some sort to manage something is not meaning that you've quit carnivore. So far, I've talked about the mistake that I feel like some of these influencers are making. I want to point out, though, that their actions are actually being weaponized. First of all, why I quit titles get 10 times more clicks than other titles. So even though some of these influencers know they haven't really quit, and I see that because as you watch the video, they will say either that they haven't really quit, but this is a short-term something they're doing to solve something, or they will say that although they've re-added this, they're still considering this a carnivore. Whatever they say, they somehow get a point across that eating meat, fish, poultry, eggs is still the healthiest thing to do. But they're acknowledging in saying that the reason they titled the way they titled was because they knew it would get people to click. Titling these videos that I quit carnivore raises them higher in the YouTube's algorithm, in the SEO of Google, which means more people see them. We need to be aware, and if you're not aware, I'll say it now. When we make these videos, we do get paid from YouTube for these videos, right? The more people watch them, the more people get paid. So when influencers label their videos why I quit and get more views, they get more pay. And if you happen to be living off the money you make on YouTube, that matters a lot. For those of us like myself who don't live off the money that we make on YouTube, it doesn't change the fact that we might want to. And so we still might be pulled into the trap of labeling our videos this way so that they get more clicks, so that we make more money. And now finance is dictating how I present keto or carnivore to the world. That is hugely problematic. Another problem that happens, wellness warriors, is that they take the relapse that they had. So if I touch sugar and then I'm chasing again, that's a relapse. Or the adjustments that they're making because I'm taking in this food because I think it's going to help my skin issue. So that's an adjustment. And they label it, or should I say they mislabel it as quitting keto or carnivore. That's misleading to the people that are looking for the videos. If the influencer mistakes relapsing or even momentarily adjusting their diet for quitting because they are blind to the understanding that cravings causes them to want to continue to eat off plan, because another thing that can happen, right? This small adjustment that you're making could lead to you falling off and now chasing. And because you are quite involved in this whole keto carnivore world and understand a good portion of it, you might think that, well, my body is asking me for these carbohydrates. And you might tell a narrative that makes it seem like, well, we can't stay on the carnivore way of eating forever. Some things must be brought back because look at me, I touched it and now I'm back. Not realizing that what actually happened is you touched it because you didn't realize that you are obsessed with the carbohydrates. And so when you started to feel compelled and started to not be able to control yourself and eat too much carbohydrate, you tell yourself a story that, well, this must be normal. This must be what my body wants. If we don't know we're obsessed, we don't solve the underlying compulsion. And therefore we allow those carbohydrates back in. This lie that we've all been fed because it profits food companies feeds right back into the system that we live in, that carbohydrates are normal, carbohydrates are healthy. And when we touch them again, because we're eating the healthy ones, right? We're eating fruit, right? Or we're eating, so those blueberries, they're the lowest glycemic fruit. So therefore me adding them back in is not a problem. Or the vegetables that I bring back because I'm trying to heal my skin, but then I'm chasing and I'm eating copious amounts of these vegetables, but I don't see it as a problem. I'll just be keto, and maybe keto is the more sustainable thing than carnivore. And we don't realize that we are being pulled back in. And next thing you know, you're eating honey, which is straight up excessive sugar in your diet. The fourth thing I want to talk about is that pesky algorithm. This is the damage that we actually see, because the public that scrolls YouTube will see our title, I quit carnivore, blah, 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 blah. And for those people who already believed that carnivore was not sustainable, they don't even click on the video to see that what you were going to eventually end up saying is, so I'm still carnivore, I just added this back. They don't even touch it. They're like, you see, we knew it. Carnivore is garbage. But then you have the other people who are curious and who really want to understand, is carnivore sustainable? Those people might click into the video. Those people might even watch a good portion of the video. If they don't get to the part where you say, but I'm still carnivore, they don't get that part. But even if they do, if they're just at the beginning of trying to understand the keto carnivore lifestyle, what you've already said might be enough for them to feel like this is not sustainable. And we've lost them before they even got a chance to see the benefit that would happen to their health. They're going to be thinking that if this person who makes videos about carnivore can't do it, how the heck can I do it? The algorithm sees the clicks because they're trying to understand. It sees the clicks from the people that click on it and watch it and feel vindicated that, see, we told you that it can't, and promotes that failure to the top of YouTube. Because most people don't even believe that carnivore could possibly be healthy. This video becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, a lie that becomes the truth in search. See, people can't do keto long term. Look how many people are saying that it doesn't work. Without even watching it, we've convinced people that might have tried it, this isn't worth your time. When companies get a hold of this, they have a new way of attacking carnivore. This is where food companies will come in and intentionally let their people that are on their side push this narrative even further. They're going to get the vegan and vegetarian people to highlight, hey, did you see that? Maybe you should talk about that a bit more. And here's a product for you to promote, because obviously carnivore doesn't work. And of course, vegan and vegetarian people also, if they're making videos on YouTube, make money from their videos. Vegan and vegetarian people, if they get a product to promote, will make money off of everyone who buys the product. It's a win-win-win for these channels. they will push this idea that, hey, these bars, which are made from plants, I have a bunch of them here. These healthy protein bars that are made from plants are going to give you all the protein you need to build your muscle, and there's no pesky animal protein in there to hurt you. They overemphasized balanced processed junk as good for us because clearly carnivore, well, these people couldn't even do it, so clearly it's not good for us to do. It's such an amazing thing, but the extreme carnivore diet failing gives credence to the idea that the extreme vegan diet could possibly be healthy. But in fact, the carnivore diet hadn't actually failed. But because we label our stuff this way, people are encouraged to come back to the healthy, balanced sugar. Because this is what we've been told for years and years. Since 1970, we've been told, 70, whatever, we've been told that sugar is good, fat is bad, don't get pulled in, be careful, right? You don't want to overeat those animals and get fat, even though that's absolutely the opposite of what was happening. They are pointing to the lie that these people quit keto to sell you a different lie that vegetables are healthy. And then in walks the sugar diet, right? And these vegan and vegetarian channels can promote the sugar diet because it's all about ignoring meat. And so this feeds the narrative too, because here you have these people saying that they quit carnivore. And of course they were crazy, right? Even trying to do that. And we can say, well, there's this other diet that if you eat just sugar, you can actually lose weight. Everyone wants to hear that. Everybody wants to know that they can eat candy and ice cream and, well, not ice cream, but candy and fruit and lose weight. Like actual junk food candy, sugar water. These are the things that are being proposed. Drink all the juice you want and lose weight. They absolutely ignore that carbohydrates in large amounts cause diabetes. Carbohydrates in large amounts cause glycation in the body, cause plaquing of the heart, cause all kinds of real health problems. I don't even know what else to say beyond that. The sugar diet is a scam. So how do we not fall for the foolishness, Wellness Warrior? The way that you do that is you stop playing their all or nothing game and understand that real health is not all or nothing. There's no perfect diet. And the goal is not to be perfect. And the goal is to understand what food is. Meat, fish, poultry, and eggs, that's food. To understand the role that vegetation plays in our diet, and then to be sustainable in the health that you choose to live. What do I mean by that? Whatever diet that I choose to walk forward in life with, I need to know that I'm doing that for the foreseeable future. What helped me to lose weight, what helped me to heal my body, what helped me to feel good, I will walk forward with. If I go back to the standard diet, I'm going back to the thing that had me gaining weight and feeling miserable, that helped my health to be bad. What I noticed for myself was that I did a keto lifestyle for years. I would say I was 3 years of pure keto. And then I said, hey, let me try out this carnivore thing. And for 60 days, I did carnivore. It felt good. I liked it, but I only did it for 60 days. I wasn't ready to commit that for the rest of my life. That was the way I was going to eat. So I went back to keto. But the interesting thing is that by living 60 days of carnivore, it occurred to me that I didn't need the high volume of vegetation that I had been eating. So what did I do? I limited my vegetation. 5 days of the week, I was carnivore, only eating meat, fish, poultry, and eggs. Those were making up my meals. And then I had 2 days a week. One day that I was doing a meal that involved avocado, and another day that I was doing a meal that involved salad and all this, a big salad and whatever. And I loved those 2 meals. So I kept them in the rotation. And every once in a while, I might have like some asparagus or whatever vegetable Pat made when I was eating at his place. But Wellness Warrior, I clearly labeled myself as a keto person because I was eating vegetation on a weekly basis. And it was not a problem for me to label myself that way. However, by the time that I took the decision that I was ready to do carnivore, which was after 5 years of living my keto lifestyle, I had already done 2 years of minimal carbohydrate. The benefit that afforded me, because letting go of those 2 days of carbohydrates was easy. That transition that I allowed myself to do wasn't a failing of any kind. It was me doing keto the way that I felt like doing keto, and then transitioning to carnivore nice and slowly. That was me successfully building a permanent change in my life. 3 years keto, 2 years really, really low carb keto, and then now 2 years later, I'm still carnivore. A nice transition. But I have another story to tell you, because Dr. Berg also tried carnivore. And I don't remember what his reasoning was to go back to keto, but he went back to keto. So for him, what was sustainable long-term was keto. He's not a failure. He succeeded at keto and he stayed there. Whether you find your sustained health in keto, in a really low-carb version of keto, or in a carnivore scenario isn't the point. The point is for you to find your comfortable place where you like what you're eating and that you know that you can do that going forward forever. My journey and Dr. Berg's journey both prove that the all or nothing narrative is actually the trap. Because had we not tried carnivore, we wouldn't necessarily know where our comfortable space really was going to be. If we thought keto was the answer and just got trapped there, that wouldn't have been helpful. If we pushed to get to carnivore, no matter what was going on, that might also not have been a great answer, because look, Dr. Berg doesn't actually feel his best there. This is actually the kind of truth that I like talking about. And it's made possible because of my amazing channel members, my supporters, right? If you want to become a supporter and maybe even get some coaching from me, the link is in the description below. The hardest part of this to accept is every time one of those I quit videos goes live, the food industry wins. Because maybe they win back the influencer if that person starts chasing again. But even worse, they win the hope of the thousands of people who see those videos, whether it was because they were already kind of questioning whether carnivore could work and they hadn't even thought about trying it, or they were on the fence to try it. And now what they're being told is carnivore doesn't work. That's the real damage, Wellness Warrior. The next time that you see a Why I Quit video, you're not going to feel fear. You're going to see the trap for what it is. You're going to see the obsession loop that maybe that influencer is in, the myth, the clickbait that's happening. You'll be immune to the lie. Remember, their story is not your story. Your goal isn't to be a perfect carnivore. Your goal isn't to be a copy of them. Your goal is to prioritize your health above junk food, above high carb fruits and vegetables, above the garbage that we have been told forever is healthier than the real food, meat, fish, poultry, and eggs. You're trying to find your sustainable path. You're trying to allow your body to heal so it can finally find its correct healthy weight. You're not broken. You've been just in this rigged, stupid game, and I'm really trying to set you up to win. So this is the video that you want to click next. Especially if you haven't started yet, this is the video that's going to help you to hone in on keto and carnivore and get your life back. So click on the video and I'll be back with you next week.